Well, I want to be friends with this guy because his name is Linus Eats BLTs, and he writes, any news on the Seth Rogen, James Franco comedy Sausage Party?
Oh, I keep hearing about movement on it. I know it landed a release date. I can't remember what the release date was. For those of you who haven't heard about it, it's an animated party.
Oh, okay.
An animated party. It's an animated film.
Oh, no, it is a party.
It's animated, and I believe it's what you think. It's about a bunch of food items. And I believe sausages are some of the food items, and it's called Sausage Party. It's going to be an R-rated animated comedy. But I mean, no other big news. It's in progress. It's coming. I'll let you guys address it while I look up the release date.
It sounds funny, and it's like you want to make sure that from whatever you thought of the interview, like those guys, they have headlines. There's this new movie that comes out, the Christmas movie with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I don't think Franco's in that one, right? Though, and it's
no, he's not. It's Anthony Mackie's
but,
in it too.
But I like when these comedies that Rogen has been putting out, even something like when he goes a little more drama to 50-50, but then to spin it into animation now with James Franco, they work well together. So I'd be interested in seeing it.
Yeah, listen to some of the other voice talent in this thing. Kristen Wiig. By the way, it's coming out in August. This coming summer, it's coming out in August.
Oh, good.
It's also got. I know these are all just voices, but still, Kristen Wiig, Selma Hayek, Paul Rudd, Edward Norton, Jonah Hill, of course, Bill Hader, of course, Michael Cera, of course, Danny McBride, of course, Craig Robinson, Nick Kroll, of course. It's their whole crew that's going to be there, and hopefully it's as funny as I'm thinking it's going to be.
August is the perfect landing place for a movie like Sausage
It may
Party.
not be a Ratchet and Crank. I mean, it might not be on that
There'll
level.
be some kind of crank.
But hopefully it'll be pretty good. All right, what's next?
Kylo Glenn Coco. Do you guys get that name?
Kylo Glenn, yeah, Star
Coco?
Wars.
Well, and then Glenn Coco, Mean Girls. You go, Glenn Coco. All right, guys.
Oh, that's a
question
nice
is, what do you think episode 7 second weekend drop off will be?
Okay.
Percentage-wise?
Here's the thing. I actually think Star Wars Episode 7 second week drop off will be around the 45 to 50% mark. Why? Because it's not good? No, because this is one of those movies where everybody is going to go out to see it week one. Yeah. And I think that more than anything is going to contribute. Like look, if Star Wars The Force Awakens has like a 30% drop, then I will change my tune and say it might threaten Avatar. It might threaten Avatar for the all-time box office. I don't see that happening though. I think it's going to get a 45%, 50% drop, and that's nothing to be worried about because that just means so many people want to go see it week one. So if it comes in lower than that, I'm going to be really surprised and very happily surprised at that. What do you think?
Oh, I think the Na'vi better look out because their planet's about to get stomped by Jakku, baby. I think opening weekend it can do around $250 million, and I think that because Christmas Day is the second weekend for Star Wars, I think look, it'd be crazy to say that a movie's going to make $200 million the first weekend and the second weekend. I don't think it's going to cross $200 million the second weekend. I think it'll do less than a 50% drop off though. I think it'll be around 35-40%.
Here's the question. Has a film ever, like that opened in wide release, not gone from limited release to wide release, has a film ever had a $100 million second weekend?
Yeah.
Jurassic World did it too. Did Jurassic World have $100 million second
I think
weekend?
Jurassic World might have been the first one to do that,
Ever?
and Mortal Kombat. I think that was the. I think Jurassic World might have been the
What
first.
about Avengers? What about
I think Avengers did just under. I think Avengers did like 85.
I think it's been done a few times. But even so, like it's. We've all changed our tune. Me too, because I was singing a tune.
I was saying 250 from day one, baby.
All right. Well, I definitely go on record saying that I changed my tune because the record previously in December was 86 million as well. Too. Let's go back to that and say that Star Wars just makes 150. Makes 150.
If that happens, yeah, very small drop off.
Then there's going to be a small drop off because people will continue to see it. If we think it's going to do this monster number that we all do now, at a 230, 250. A 50% drop off is pretty good.
Yeah, well, it would be like $125 million second weekend.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So and then it's the third week that's the drop off I'm curious about because I don't think the third week's going to be that big of a drop off. And then as we get further and further, because I think this Star Wars is going to be in the top 3 until about February.
You guys realize The Force Awakens could make enough money to build a bionic Mark Wahlberg?
Yeah, in the first week.
It's funny, and I've also changed my tune because I've been harping on the fact. Look, guys, you keep forgetting it. The December record is only 86 million. Blah blah blah. Maybe it'll do 150, or maybe it'll do 140, 130, and that should be considered good. I've totally changed my song on that now with the new information that we have, seeing what it did on those opening.
It was that opening
sales.
day thing that got it for me.
That's
it was
what totally did it for me.
The energy and the like selling like event tickets that people were buying it like if you didn't see it that weekend, you're never going to see it ever.
Yeah,
it was crazy the way people were buying it.
I have. Why do I have to say this? I have come around to believe that Mark Ellis was right.
Yeah, Start drinking the midi-chlorians, everyone.
250 will be the number. All right, what's next?
Comrade X writes, most movies are now sneaking in political messages. What are your most and least favorite? Example, Harloff hated Elysium.
No Christians.
Yeah, well, also throw Tomorrowland.
Yeah, well, Tomorrowland, but don't fool yourself into thinking they've just started.
Yeah.
There has been political angling, and there's nothing wrong with that because ultimately, to me, what movies are meant to be are a window into the world of what we are, what we hope we could be, where we've been, where we're going, what we dream, and in the fantasies that we can fulfill for the future of our species, if you will. And if you do any of that, to some degree, there's going to be a political message, whether it's one you agree with or disagree with. I really don't give a flying F about. I really don't care if a movie has a political message I like or that I don't like. I just like if it tells a great story. I remember, what was it, $1 Million Baby?
Yeah.
With Clint Eastwood. I remember this at the end of that movie, and I'm going to be a bit of a spoiler for this, but if you haven't seen $1 Million Baby by now, you're never going to see it. But if you don't want to know, plug your ears for about 30 seconds. At the end of the movie, Clint Eastwood helps the girl commit suicide, right? He helps the girl kill herself. And I remember there were these protests for Clint Eastwood afterwards, these big protests saying, Clint Eastwood hates crippled people. Clint Eastwood thinks people who are disabled should die.
Right.
And it's like, no, he just told a story where in this story, that character made one particular choice, and that's what happened in the story. And some people don't grasp that sometimes movies aren't political agendas. Sure, there might be politics involved, but they're just telling a story, and I think we got to be able to accept that.
I agree. And look, the thing is, I think that it's necessary because of the medium and what movies do, that it's necessary a lot of times to put in these types of messages and put in these, and again, if it's telling the story. My thing with Elysium was not that there was a political message there. It was, I don't want to be taken out of a movie and beaten over the head with it in the middle of the story going, this is just a message film, because the same director also did District 9, which was also a very, very strong political theme.
Sure.
But the story was being told in a way that it all fit together in such a nice blend that I was aware of the message, but I was also very aware of the story and the characters, and I was on the adventure of the story. It's when something like Tomorrowland, where it's like, recycle! And you're like, and it just takes you out of it. I think it just needs to be a blend, and filmmakers have to be careful sometimes.
Yeah, and a lot of content is created in a response to political ideals. Like even Star Wars was created partially as a response to the Vietnam War and what was happening over there. So there's a lot of times that war particularly can inspire, and war kind of movies like Jarhead or Stop Loss, that very political message to say. Sometimes you can watch it and embrace it, but when you go to a war movie, you're expecting to get some sort of political message. Seeing Tomorrowland, I just wasn't expected. I wasn't thinking I was going to get beaten over the head with the message. Star Trek 4, the end, when they're like saving the whales.
Right.
It's like, okay, we get it. We'll be nicer to whales. Cool.
Yeah, they didn't make a whole. It was just a part of the film. Yeah, I love that. Okay, let's take a few more.
All right, Ryan Field writes, will Star Wars 8 even come close to Episode 7 when its tickets go on sale?
You can't honestly answer that question until we see how good or how bad Star Wars Episode 7 is. If Star Wars Episode 7 crushes it and knocks it out of the park, I'm not talking about money-wise, I'm talking about quality. If people come out with tears of joy and all that kind of stuff, yeah, it can equal it. I mean, it won't do what Star Wars Episode 7 did in terms of breaking the record by 10 times, or it won't do that. But it could equal or exceed what it did on its own. But it all comes down to how good is that second movie, and by extension, how good Rogue One is as well.
That's the main. Well, I think that even if Rogue One, if Episode 7 is great, I mean, great.
Yeah.
And then Rogue One isn't good, I don't think it'll hurt episode 8's.
No, I think you're right. I think you're right.
Because it's the sequel to the movie that was great.
Yeah.
And that's why people will be very excited to see, because if you get a sequel and everyone's back and you're like, oh wait, Star Wars is back to what we all were hoping it would be, then you're not going to go 10 times like you said, but you're certainly going to equal those numbers, I think.
But it's not just about the quality of episode 7. It's also if there's some sort of a cliffhanger feel at the end of episode 7. If you only see Luke Skywalker like you think for the last 5 minutes of that movie, and the last thing you see is him lighting up a green lightsaber to fight Kylo Ren, it's like, oh my God, I need to buy tickets right now to see that movie. So we've seen the trailers.
If episode 7 ends at that, I'm going to be physically angry.
Yeah.
I'm going to be so pissed off.
Just like that kind of cliffhanger. And it's also, and the other thing too, adding to it, is that it's only a year and a half away from the time you're done watching. Episode 8 comes out in May of 2017, so that's even more so to be excited about.
That's right, and like all we've seen is the trailer. We don't have a lot of story to go on. So if the story is great and it leaves us on a cliffhanger, maybe not what I just wrote, but maybe something like that, you might want to buy your tickets early.
All right, what's next?
That guy, Stephen Charles, writes, will we ever see action star Tom Cruise go back to non-blockbuster, non-action roles?
Yes. I mean, he's shown, he's got a lot of films in his resume, that straight drama, some risky stuff that he did. But I think right now, Tom Cruise very wisely understands he's getting to an age where he's got a certain window left that he can take advantage of these action, big blockbuster type of films. Because 10 years from now, he probably can't anymore, believably. Right now, he can, and he's killing it right now. So I think and he knows, look, I can go back to those heavy dramas and the stuff that I did before when I was a bit younger. I can go back to those when I'm 58, 60, and do those for the rest of my life. But I only got a certain window I can do these Mission Impossibles, these Jack Reachers, these Edge of Tomorrows. I only got a certain window, so I need to do these now. And I think it's the right thing for him to do.
Yeah, you only got a certain window to be able to strap yourself to the side of a plane when it's taking off. Most of us don't have that window in our house at all.
Can you imagine Harrison Ford? Well, I guess he kind of does do that.
He does. He's doing it right
he
now.
does in real life, yeah. I think Tom Cruise, and with the same like desire that he pursues being in these action movies and like not cheating the audience and doing all your own stunts, he's going to take all that passion and channel it into maybe more of an Oscar contending movie. Because remember, he's been nominated for Best Actor before. He's never won Best Actor. That's going to change at some point. Tom Cruise just wants it too bad to not win Best Actor sometime in the future.
I think Tom Cruise will go back to those types of roles, because something like Magnolia or whatever it is that he's great at it. But like you were saying, he's in a range. He's in where he is. He's in the zone, because if you you got to also remember, even if you didn't see Edge of Tomorrow in the theater, chances are that you've seen it by now because of the word of mouth. It's a quality movie. The Last Mission Impossible, great movie. I didn't love Jack Reacher. A lot of people did like Jack Reacher. He's doing these movies, and it doesn't have Marvel in the title. It doesn't have Star Wars. He's one of these guys at 50 years old or whatever he is to be able to do these movies. So he has to capitalize on it, and it's working. So keep doing it until you don't have to, but popping back into these smaller roles. He's a really talented actor. I'd like to see him do something like The Revenant or something along those lines.
It'll
eventually
come.
too. I think
he got burned by Lions for Lambs too, because that was a movie that came out maybe not even a decade ago, but it was like positioned as an Oscar contender and like, oh, Tom Cruise is great. And the movie did so poorly at the box office and critically that he's like, why would I continue to do these kind of movies and risk losing my star's luster, as opposed to just kick ass in Mission Impossible and Jack Reacher to a lesser extent and Edge of Tomorrow as long as I possibly can.
Well, there's a good blend also, like something like Collateral, as where because Collateral's a movie, and he hasn't played. Has he played a villain since? I mean, you can kind of say Lex Grossman if you want to, but
no, I still want a Les Grossman movie so bad. But you know what nobody talks about? Because I thought the first one of these many action films has a really strong first two acts, kind of a weak third act, and everybody forgets. I thought Day and Night was actually better than a lot of people. The one he did with Night and Day, sorry, the one he did with.
I can't stand that movie.
I enjoyed Night and Day. I thought the action that was really, and the third act fell apart totally. I totally get, it, but I thought it was better than it gets credit for. All right, let's take 3 or 4 more now. Rapid fire.
DJ Mike Zero writes, "What is one movie that never got a sequel that you wish did?"
I say this all the time. The two are Megaforce. Which would be, it's way too late now for Megaforce. But the other one, absolutely to this day, I think now is the perfect time to do it, because Hank Azaria is just serving fries right now. William H. Macy is doing a lot of directing, not a lot of Mystery Men. Mystery Men 2. Do it. All the players are still here. Paul Rubens is even in Blacklist these days. Get the whole crew back, please. Mystery Men was a movie that was so far ahead of its time, both in terms of comic book stuff and their style of comedy. Please get this crew back and do another one. I will always beg for it.
Dread. Absolutely, Dread. I want to see where that's. I was really upset. That movie to me was executed so well. The 3D is some of the best 3D that was ever used, and I sometimes get bored with the way 3D is used. It was necessary in that movie. I thought Carl Urban was amazing as Dredd. And then the other one that I heard rumblings about that I actually would be curious about, even though maybe it's not necessary, is The Big Lebowski. I know they talked about doing a sequel to The Lebowski a couple times. I'd love to see Bridges return as the dude.
Now, I know you have always been very excited about a Warriors sequel.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait to see the Warriors sequel right after I see the first one. Thanks, Collider movie fans. I'm going to say it's a risk. It's a risk. It's not going to tarnish the legacy of the first one if they make Beetlejuice 2. I would love to see what the concept of Beetlejuice 2 is. You can still have Michael Keaton playing a role in there. I want to see what that is. Also, I think a sequel to the comedy classic Old School could really work today. You still have all those dudes. They're still making movies that are kind of funny, but you put them all together again. I think Old School 2 could be hilarious.
Okay, just a couple more.
Hayden Stewart writes, what are your favorite holiday comedies?
Holiday comedies. Well, you got to go to the classic Home Alone. That's a great
Christmas
one.
Vacation.
Christmas Vacation is another great one.
Come on, guys.
Christmas Story?
Scrooged.
Scrooge
Bill
is a
Murray.
great one.
Did you say
Scrooge-
Christmas
Fall
Story?
Down
Did
Funny.
you say Christmas Story?
No, I said Home Alone.
Okay, Christmas Story. Yeah, that's one. Of
Oh,
my
yeah. That is one of the all-time great. The tongue on the pole is one of the
You shoot
all-time
your eye
great
out,
scenes.
kid.
Oh my God, that's so good. All right, what's next?
Iran Quijano writes, when talking about the budget of a film, does that cover the cost of paying every single person who worked in it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have two items of a budget. You have the above-the-line costs and the below-the-line costs. You're talking about people on camera and stuff like that. And underneath the line, you're talking about a lot of the behind-the-scenes people. What you're not talking about is P&A. You're not talking about your marketing. You're not talking about trailers. You're not talking about advertising. But the actual production of the movie, that covers all the costs.
Dorsforden writes, do you think we'll get a Lord of the Rings re-release soon to capitalize on the new Hobbit audience?
No. No.
You might see it in theaters is somewhere down the road.
Yeah, but
like an
not in
ArcLight
connection
special or
with-
something.
Oh, yeah. They're not like, hey, remember Battle of the Five
Yeah.
Armies? No? Okay, well, here's 3 other
Right.
movies that we think you'll like better.
Yeah, I mean, you put those original 3 Lord of the Rings films back in theaters for like 2 Saturdays or something like that. I'm going to watch them. I'd love to see that on the big screen.
Was
again.
there talk of ever expanding that universe again too? Like I thought there
Yeah,
was.
well, there's
right?
talk about the Silmarillion, and there was a talk
Yeah,
about the other novels, and some more work has been done after the passing of J.R.R. Tolkien. But but it's never really moved very far. There are rights issues and things like that, and I think it's time to put it to bed. All right, 2 more, and then we'll call it a day.
Jeffrey Wong writes, do you think the last Jobs movie has affected the performance of this current Jobs movie?
It might. I think. Look, and that's one of the risks you always run because you got 2 things. 1, didn't we just already have a Jobs movie? And 2, I saw a Jobs movie already and it was horrendously bad. Now, is that the reason Jobs didn't make $100 million opening weekend? No, but I do think it had an effect.
I don't actually.
Really?
No, not for that. And I understand the reasoning behind that. And I think a lot of the cases it does. But that movie didn't do well at all. Nobody. I mean, some people thought that it came out, and maybe because it was so bad, you know, it had a stink left over to it. But I also think because the stink of everything that happened with Sony absolutely
Do you
hurt
think
as
the
well.
average film fans care much about the...
No, but there was a lot of stories about just eventually things come out about as far as Leonardo DiCaprio was attached, and then this person, it wasn't
Christian Bale was
supposed to be. There
attached.
were stories that were floating around for a while, and then Fassbender as Jobs didn't look like him. I thought he was great, and I think he should be nominated for the performance. But one of the main things too, again, going back to my wife who's a casual film fan, was like, did he work? It doesn't look anything like him. Like that type of stuff matters to film fans as far as like looking like it. Is it going to work? Seth Rogen being cast in that role, even though again, phenomenal job. I think there were a lot of
It
things.
struck some people as weird.
It
at
did,
first,
and
yeah.
it shouldn't have. The movie, it was. Talking about Edge of Tomorrow being a crime that a lot of people didn't see it in theaters. Steve Jobs, and maybe the time when it came out as well too. That was a movie. It's one of my favorites. Top 10 of the year.
I think First Blush is a huge underrated thing when it comes to how you feel about a movie. Like when you hear, oh, they're making a new Star Wars, sweet. There's a new Bond movie coming out, sweet. There's a new Peanuts movie coming out. Oh, I'm interested in that. There's a new Jobs movie coming out. Wasn't there already a Jobs movie? I think that had an effect on it. I don't think it had a huge effect on it. It was going to be a massive hit anyway, but I think the fact that there was another Jobs movie that came out not that long ago definitely had an effect on the box office.
All right, last question of the day goes to...
Oh gosh. Gabriel Anton writes, Oscar chances for Beast of No Nation, please, thanks.
It qualifies because, remember, the rules for an Academy, it doesn't matter that it's playing on Netflix. The rules for the Academy are pretty straightforward. You got to just at least play for a certain amount of time in a movie theater in Los Angeles and in New York. And that's it. You do those, you totally qualify. I finally had a chance about, I wasn't feeling well, so I was home alone because Anne was out, doing all of her Hasbro stuff. And I had a chance to watch it. It's terrific. Best Picture? I don't think so, but it's great. If you haven't had a chance to watch it yet, watch it. I think Idris Elba will get some talk for his role in it as well. So Oscar chances, totally it has chances for it.
I haven't seen it, but I will say you're definitely getting Oscar chances just from the way that I hear people buzzing about it and talking about it and things they're saying about it. The words, powerful, moving, like all these things that happen when you hear about at this time and when it was marketed, when it was put out there, they're absolutely going for the campaign. And I think whether it's performances or the film itself, you're going to hear about it come Oscar time.
I agree it should be considered. I think there's going to be a Netflix bubble, though, when it comes to the Academy. They're not exactly up with the times, usually.
But it came out limited, though, first.
I realize that, but a lot of people weren't aware of it being in limited. A lot of people associate Beast of No Nation with Netflix, and I think that is going to hurt it with a lot of the Academy voters. I hope it gets consideration. I haven't seen it yet, but I think it should. I think that the Netflix thing hurts it.
Yeah, I like I said, though, the Netflix thing for me doesn't hurt it, personally.
Waldorf and Statler who are voting on the Academy.
But I don't. But I think simply on its merit, it's a great film. But I wouldn't personally put it in my top 5 of the year, top 6, top 7. So if it doesn't get nominated, for me, it won't be because of Netflix, because I didn't think it deserved to be up there. But who knows? It's certainly going to get a lot of buzz. And because it is a Netflix thing and the kind of the first penguin diving into the water, it might get some extra attention because it's the first one doing it.
I would hope so. If the movie's worth it, I hope so.
Hey guys, if you like this clip, click here to watch the entire episode. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel because it'll help you stay up to date with all the stuff we've got going on here at Collider.